wanna be drowned by fire, purified.
Hey, what's good? Put my phone on vibrate, okay. Hi, you guys. It's my first intro on my new channel. It's Amber. My name is Amber. If you don't know who I am, I have another channel that's called Amber Links, and that was my channel up until a couple of weeks ago, and I decided to really abandon it because I started this new channel, Amber and the Truth. That's why you're sitting here looking at it. And Amber and the Truth is going to consist of everything dealing with the Lord, my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, God, the Holy Spirit, all three of them, you know what I'm saying? Like everybody. So we are a tight-knit family, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, basically the goal of this channel is to help people get saved, find Jesus, live your life better, because with him it's better. That's the whole point. You know what I'm saying? Just is living life for him. It's just better. Like everything just goes better. And I want to be that example. I want to be that educator to help you, also while helping myself and learning more about myself, you know? So yes, this is my testimony. This is how my life and how God came into my life and everything that transformed me into the woman that you see before you. My old YouTube's still up because I want that to be a testimony to who I am. Go back and watch any of those videos and you can see I'm a completely different woman than I was like literally 6 months ago. So let's just jump in. My name is Amber. I'm from California. I was raised by my grandmother, and as a child I felt like I was how do I say it? As a child, I grew up with let me not sugarcoat it. Here's the thing, I'm gonna do a disclaimer. I'm talking about my life, the things that I experienced, the things that I feel, the things that happened to me, and the perspective from my eyes. So I'm not talking to bash family members or to bash anyone, really. It's yeah, it's really just me saying my story, telling y'all how I got to where I am, to where I'm from. So it's just that. So like I said, born in California, raised by my grandmother. I was born, I don't like how this, trying to make me look bad. I was born addicted to drugs because my mother was a substance abuser. She did whatever she wanted and did whatever she could do. And I was born addicted to drugs, and my grandmother came and got me at the hospital once they made sure that I was all right and the addiction went away, you know, whatever. And I lived my life with my grandmother. My life with my grandmother was, as a child, it was very hard. I didn't understand a lot of it. I was very depressed as a child. Yes, like as a child. My grandmother was very, she wasn't that much physically, you know, abused. I would say she was physically abusive, verbally abusive, and emotionally abusive to me. That's what she was. That's just who she was. Like, she yelled for no reason. I got a lot of whoopings for no reason. It was just, I was very depressed. I was by myself. She had a husband up until the age of 8, and then he suddenly left, so I no longer had a father figure. I was just sad. Like, I was just a very depressed kid. I had anxiety. I didn't know how to deal with it, and it was very hard for my existence at 6, 7, 8 years old. I was just the saddest kid. Didn't know what to do with myself. And then my sister came into the picture. She was raised in foster care up until the age of 10 or 9, whatever she came to live. Then she came to live with us, me and my grandmother. And when she came to live with us, it was almost like I got a friend. Like, I have a support system now, but the abuse still went on. And it was just like, but for my sister, it was way worse. Maybe I'll let her tell her story on my channel one day. But her abuse was way worse than mine. My grandma loved me. She did everything she could for me and tried to give me everything she wanted. But she was lacking with emotional intelligence. because she didn't have that. No one showed her, so how the hell was she gonna show me? You know what I'm saying? So I get it now as an adult, but back then as a kid, I was just weirded out, mad and upset, like not understanding life. Like the reason why I was so anxious and so depressed was because no one loved me. No one showed me any love. I was just out there. And you know, when my sister came, that was like, okay. And she didn't come loving me either. She didn't like me when she first came here. So not only did I have, you know, the distance from my grandmother, and then my sister who came, who I just met, didn't mess with me either. And it was hard for me to deal with. It was hard for me to deal with at the time, you know what I'm saying? But eventually we grew closer. We established a relationship with each other, and we were able to be really best friends, you know what I'm saying? And as the older we got, but from a kid, it was just always me, and I was used to being by myself until she came. And my first ounce of Jesus or God coming into my life really when I was about 9 years old. I went to this church, and they had an altar call, and then my grandmother told me to go up there because I'm such a bad girl. She, like I said, it was mentally, emotionally, and physical. So she really played in my head and made me think I was such a horrible person, like I was such a bad kid, even though I had never been in any trouble, haven't done anything really significantly big. So I went up there, you know, and they said the words they're gonna say, and I said I accepted Jesus, and you know, I cried, and I felt better. And then I felt like maybe that was it, you know. I didn't know what to do after that. That just happened. And then of course I grew up, went into my life, became a teenager. And as a teenager, it was kind of the same thing, but the difference was I was struggling with sex. Like sex has always been my struggle, meaning like the thoughts, the act of doing it, wanting to do it, and all that other crap, and porn and all of that. So that is a huge struggle of mine that I still deal with to this day. Then that was just kind of like who I was. I was like a freaky girl. I considered myself a freak, you know what I'm saying? When boys ask you that, are you a freak? You know what I'm saying? I was like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? I'm freak. You know what I'm saying? So sex was my identity. That was what had me closer to men, because since I didn't get any affection or any love, I searched for it in men, right? So I tried to talk to boys at school. It didn't really work out because of my wardrobe and the way that I looked. I was a tomboy growing up. So not only me being a tomboy, I'm into boys, but at the same time I'm dressed like one. It's weird. Like I have like the demeanor of one, you know what I'm saying? So of course then it wasn't super big for me to be into boys at that time. So this is my preteen years. So in my preteen years, middle school, it was like, middle school was like very tumultuous. Like middle school, I feel like is where the devil resides. Like that's where he picks what he gonna start. Like that's where he be, or him is the hers demon, one or the other. Like middle school was like wretched. It wasn't that bad, but it was also like statuses. It was like you had to look good and you had to be good or whatever. So by the time I got to when I got to high school, that's when everything started to take off. So when I got to high school, I met my best friend, and I've known my best friend since we were 8 years old in 3rd grade or whatever, but she didn't become my best friend until we got to high school. And hooking up with her, like becoming her best friend, my eyes was open really to a lot. Like I was kind of sheltered in a way. Like I lived up the hill, I lived an hour. I literally lived like maybe 40 minutes away from my school and from my town and from my grandmother's work and from all of my friends. She bought a house up in the middle of the desert before I was born and decided to live here and just work in a different city. So I'm like, okay, cool. I think that's really what kept me out of deep trouble and out of things I could have been in. But like my best friend was kind of like the eye opener. She kind of like just helped me, because when I got to her, she was already, out doing her. When I met my best friend, she wasn't a virgin no more. And I was amazed at that, because I was like, well, I want to lose my virginity. You know what I'm saying? Like I was just so hyped to have sex. I don't even know why. I was just, when you 12, when you 13, 14, your hormones is a raging, nigga. Like it is, and just a look, a touch, a thought can make you, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like, you're very sensitive. So I was just head on, like just ready to just take on the world. Like I want to sit on it, you know what I'm saying? I want to sit on, I want to have space, I want to do it, you know what I'm saying? I want my cheek clap, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I want to do all that. And it took a while, but it eventually happened. She introduced me to this website where I can talk to boys. And that was my first time interacting with men in a sexual and a romantic way. And before then, I haven't. I didn't know how to, you know what I'm saying? I didn't talk to boys like that. Didn't know they were interested in me. None of that, you know, tomboy. When I was, she introduced me to this website and I started talking to boys. And the first boy that I met was this boy named Marvin. And he kind of, I don't really remember that situationship really. It was like 3 months long, and I caught myself being in love with him. Like I thought I was in love with him, and I thought that we were gonna spend our lives together, and this was my first love, and blah blah blah. Turns out he already had a girlfriend, and he was a habitual liar. He just played me, which I didn't get why he did that, because we were in 2 different cities. Like you could have just, but anyway, it didn't matter about that. So then after that, I met this gangbanging boy, and his name was Jamal. It was spelled Jamal, but his name was Jamel. And after I met him, it was just like, I have ran into it as a type of anxiety I have never went through before. Like that boy he was a lot to handle. That was way before I knew about relationships and men with women and how it works. He was cheating on me the whole time too. And I had no idea. I was literally calling his girlfriend's phone, not even knowing I was. Nigga, as soon as the voicemail come on, it'd be a chick's, but it didn't click for me. Like, it was like, okay, this is my nigga phone, you know what I'm saying? So, it was just like, I felt that like I was just really trying to search for the love that I wasn't getting at home in men. And on top of that, I had real bad self-esteem issues because of my hair. I know everyone has this story, quick side tangent, but everyone has this story. Like a lot of black people, a lot of black women who are children have this story, but this really happened to me. So at 8 years old, I got my first perm. My grandma took me to a hair salon, and then when she took me back home, maybe a couple days or a day later, she started to comb out my hair and noticed that it was coming out and that the perm wasn't done properly. So she proceeded to shave my head, and ever since then, my hair has really never been the same. And simply because at the time, we didn't know that I had deep-rooted anxiety. I'm a hair puller. I have trichotillomania, which is an anxiety disorder where you pull your hair. And at the time, I had no idea I had this disorder. At the time, we thought my hair couldn't grow. It would be long in every other place, right? And there'll be a spot in the middle of my head where it's not long. And then we would be like, what the hell's going on? And I don't even know that I'm doing it. They don't know that I'm doing it, so we just keep shaving my head and shaving my head and shaving my head. Start all over. And that's taking a knife to my self-esteem. Like, it's cutting me. Like, I'm a young woman and you're cutting my hair. Like, as a young girl, your hair is your livelihood. Like, that is you know what I'm saying? So it really took a toll on me emotionally, that my hair just was just what it was. I didn't think I was beautiful. I didn't think I was cute. I didn't think I was attracted to men. I thought all men wanted girls with long hair, and that was it. I was just die alone. Nobody would ever want me, you know what I'm saying? And I was really super insecure, so talking to boys at school wasn't a thing. Like, there was not a single boy I talked to at school or tried to like or anything like that. And I just felt comforted in talking to these boys online. And there was this one boy who really changed my life, no cap. Like, I was searching for love in these men, and they couldn't give it to me. Like, I thought I was in love with the first 2 boys, the Marvin and Jamel, right? But I wasn't. Because now I know what love is. I know the hell that wasn't love. That was either lust. Most of it was lust and just longing for somebody to give a damn about you. Because when you grow up isolated in the town, number one, where you don't have neighbors, you don't have no friends on the side, and then the people in your house aren't loving you, you're like, what the hell? You know what I'm saying? It's very hard and very difficult. It was a lot. So when I met him, this boy kind of changed my life. He did. He talking about him, man. He was the first man in my life, really, to show me affection outside of sex. Like, of course, we were teenagers. That's what we talked about. That's what we wanted to do. No cap. Like, he was the first boy to really show me affection, to show me, I felt at the time, you know, well, it was real, true, genuine love. He would constantly tell me I'm beautiful. And at the time, when we met, the FaceTime was very extremely new. So we both had iPhones and we'd FaceTime a lot. And I think that is the difference between those other two boys and him. Mind you, these are all been long distance. I haven't met these niggas in person at the time because I was a tomboy and nobody was talking to me at school. It was just like that type of thing, right? So he made me feel like I was beautiful, and he made me I was in love. Like, I'm still in love with this man, like, to this day. Like, that's my baby. But right now, as I'm telling the story, he changed my outlook on things. Like, I don't know what it was about him, but he's God sent. He is definitely God sent. He loved me. Like, he joked with me. He called me beautiful. He made me feel like no one has ever made me feel. And I loved him. And the thing about that is, I didn't know, that was my first time being in love, and I didn't know how to handle it. I didn't know how to deal with it. So I jumped in, all in. Like, I loved the boy more than I loved myself, more than I loved family members, more than I loved God. And I didn't even know God then. So it was just, his love was consuming. Like, we were an emotional roller coaster, nigga. We're teenagers. He would break up with me and I would be sad. And then we would get back together and he would break up again and then I'd be sad. Like, it was like he ran my emotional life. Like, it was just Amari or nothing. And his name is Amari, by the way. It was basically like Amari or nothing. Like, if you're not him, I don't want to talk to you. I don't want, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's my boo. Like, period. So, when there was a couple times where we broke up, we got back together, broke up, got back together, and the first breakup was my first time experiencing, wow, a lot of the memories just came back to me randomly. Oh my gosh, wow, that's freaking wild. The first breakup was my first time experiencing depression as a teenager. Like, of course, as a kid, I didn't know what it was. And I think I kind of grew out of it a little bit. And then it was introduced back into my life when I met the boy. I met Amari. So when we broke up, I was freaking sad because he was my everything. He was my all. You know what I'm saying? When you just put all of you into a person, that's not healthy at all. But at the time, I didn't know this. So I'm just like, distraught, nigga. Like, I have never in my life had suicidal thoughts. And at that time, I was having suicidal thoughts. I was like, what is the point of living if I can't be with this boy? You know what I'm saying? If I can't have him love me and I love him back, like, what is the point? I was like, girl, bye. Like, I'm ready to slit my throat, nigga. Like, I'm ready to cut my wrist. Like, I had a knife next to my bed. And this whole time, my family doesn't know. Nobody knows that I'm thinking these things. I've never expressed this. So I'm just deeply sad, you know what I'm saying? And the thing is, he was deeply sad as well. This is why I think why we're so like this with each other and hadn't met at the time, is because when we broke up, he was sad too. He was going through his own things too. He was fighting his demons too. So when we broke up, he was suicidal as well. So we were both suicidal. We were both ready to end it all, really. You know what I'm saying? And just, I don't know. It ain't like we knew what life was gonna be like, or the world, or God, or anything. We didn't know. I didn't know none of that. So I'm just like, what the heck? I'm really just sitting here like sad, depressed. And when he calls, we're like, basically we're on the phone with each other, like telling each other like, okay, we love each other, but we about to end it, basically. And of course we didn't, because I'm still here. And we got back together after that, and we kind of like just sailed through that. and you know, he was still running my emotions. He was still the only thing I thought of, wanted to do everything all the way, all blah blah blah, just Amari, everything was about him. And then once we got back together, everything was cool. I go the next year, school year is my senior year now. Oh, I don't know if I've added a timeline, but I met the first boy, Marvin, in sophomore year. The second boy, freshman year. And then the second boy, Jamal, my sophomore year. And then Amari, my junior year. The summer before my junior year. And so I'm going into my senior year, and we're still together, whatever. And at this point, we break up again, but it's for and this one has me distraught. Like, I'm sad, I'm depressed. Like, I don't know how to live my life without this boy. Like, I didn't know, I was cool before he came into my life, but now I'm just like, what do I do? Like, how do I live? Like, how do I walk? How do I talk? How do I get up? How do I think? How do I eat without him? Like, I don't know how to be without him. So I was really sad and depressed, and it was just like, once we got back together after that, I was just on edge, because I was like, okay, so we're gonna keep breaking up. I don't really want to keep putting my all into you. I don't really want to keep loving you the way that I do, so I'm gonna put my love on the back burner. That's what I thought I was doing. I did not do that. You can't move your love and put it in different places. It don't work like that. That's what I thought I was doing. So when I got to college, I was like, okay, so I'm out of the nest, I'm out on my own, I can do whatever the hell I want to do, you know. So I'm just like, yes, like, woo, like, come see me, because I told you, like, these were long distance relationships with these boys, and I didn't know how to communicate. Let's start planning a life together. Let's start planning to see each other. Let's start planning to be together. I didn't know how to communicate that. So I was just like, I had been I probably had been in LA, moved to college for like a month, and I was just like, oh wait, let's break up. And I broke up with him because I was just like, I was ready to see him. You know what I'm saying? Like, from 17 to 18, you know what I'm saying? I was just like, for a whole year and a half, I was like, okay, let's do this. Like, I'm ready to see you. I'm ready to be with you. And I don't even remember what he said, but it was probably like something like, no, I can't, or something, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I just eventually, I broke up with him, and I was like, okay, so since you ain't about to come out here and we ain't about to be together, what are we together for? So I broke up with him. And when I did that, I regretted that. The very next day, I tried to call him and get back together, but it wasn't it. That was dead. Like, that was the last time we would be together. And that devastated me. My first year of college, I was so depressed. I was so freaking unhappy. I was a brace face my first year of college. I had braces, and I can't find a single picture of me with braces because I was so unhappy. I didn't smile in any of my pictures. I was so freaking sad. Like, if I was to go through my photo bucket, all of my pictures were just, I didn't smile in any of them. I was unhappy as hell. I was like, I didn't know how to be without him. And that was when I experienced the worst part of my depression. Because at this point, I'm like, okay, the man that I love, I've only, and truly love, because I've only been in love with this man, doesn't want me. And then I began to think about my parents and how I didn't grow up with them. My mother and father, who are they? You know what I'm saying? I was like, damn, they didn't want me. You know what I'm saying? They too busy with their lives. And then my grandmother, being who she is, you know, kind of mean and verbally and emotionally abusive. I was like, well, damn, I really have nobody. And I sunk deeper into my depression, and I really wanted to not live anymore. I wanted to die. I was not ready to, I was just like, I don't even want to be here no more. I'm sad. Like, I don't want to do none of this. Let's dead it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I didn't even know, I didn't have a plan to kill myself. I just know that I didn't want to live. And I was sad for my first year of college. The entire 2013 and 2014 was my worst years of my life, because I was just so sad and distraught and heartbroken over this relationship, over nobody really giving a damn about me, one to love me, no one caring, no one having my back, you know what I'm saying? And I just felt really isolated and alone. And at that point, I think that's when God saw me and stepped in, because I was done for. I was ready to go. I didn't want to be here. And it was just like, damn, like I didn't, for what? It is wild. Like, I came home for, I think it was my first year of college, and I came home for Christmas break. And I was still sad, of course, and still depressed or whatever, but my sad and depressed, you don't see. Like most people, is you see it physically. They don't want to get out of bed, you see it on their face. Mine was hidden. No one around me knew I was suicidal. No one around me knew I was sad. I was still a little bit of my upbeat self and a little chipper, and enough to have a conversation for nobody to notice or for them to be suspicious of anything. So one day I'm chilling on the couch, and my sister's best friend is here, and she starts to ask me, has I been to church? Do I like going to church or something like that? And I was like, I'll be missing church, like I'd be wanting to go, and then when I get there, I don't like being there no more. That's exactly what I told her. And she was like, oh. And then, and then she proceeds to explain stuff to me. So at that time, she's giving me the gospel, she's giving me the truth. And I was low-hanging fruit, meaning I was depressed, I was already sad. So I was needing God, I was needing him, because there was nowhere else for me to turn, there was nowhere for me to go. So when she spoke the truth to me, when she spoke God to me, it immediately punctured my heart. It punctured my feelings, because I was sad as hell and I needed something, and I needed God. That's what I needed. And when it was just like she gave the gospel to me, and I was just sitting there pondering. I don't really remember that day, but I do remember the next day. The next day was Sunday, and we went to church. And then I went to this church that I'd never been to before, and I got saved at that church. I confessed my sins. I believed that Jesus Christ was my Savior, and that was that. And that day, I felt a huge relief off of my shoulders. Like it was almost like an awakening. Like I don't know how to explain it. So when you are in despair and depressed, and you find God and you accept him, it's almost like whoosh, all the weight lifts up off of you, and you're just like, dang, I didn't know I could feel so content. I was cool, I was chilling. Like I completely forgot about the depression, because God has taken that away. I've forgotten about really everything, every strife, everything I was sad about, I completely forgot about. And on the ride back home from the church, I was just sitting looking out the window like, wow, like I feel better, like I'm okay, like it's going to be okay. And I just felt better about everything. God is really real. And in that moment, I didn't know what to do. Like I didn't know I didn't know how to maneuver after being saved, because okay, Christmas break came, got saved, was at home for maybe like an extra week, and then I went back to LA to go back to school. So when I went back to LA, it's almost like I lost all of that. Like you don't lose your salvation, but I mean as far as like the comfort that I had being with God, because at that point I was with God. And when I went back to LA, I lost that comfort. I began to think the same things again, and still be a little sad, and continue to think of this man Amari in my life. And at this point, I was just trying to do anything really to get over him. So I began to just be honest, sleep with who I could, replace him with who I could. Like if I found friends with benefits, I would sleep with, like I would let me tell you, I was wild. Like I would find the friends with benefits, and I made sure that my classes were only 2 days a week, so I'm at home the rest of the days. So I would go to class Tuesday, Thursday, or something like that, and then on Thursday I would invite my friends with benefits over, and he would stay until Monday, and we would do it all weekend. And that's just what I did to try to get over this hurt, you know what I'm saying, because I've left God's presence, so I'm back in the world where I'm hurting again, except I'm not so sad. Like the sad before was but this time I'm sad, but it's not as deep. So I'm really sleeping with whoever, really, just not, yeah, I'm not whoring it up. I'm not just finding randoms. I'm finding a boy, talking to him, getting to know him, then, you know, going there. And then I did that a couple times until it didn't work no more, until because at this point, once I was like, okay, so I'm over trying to just sleep with any old body, so let me try to find somebody to be with. Because at this time I'm like, okay, I think I'm ready to move on. I think I'm ready to be in a relationship, you know. And of course I wasn't, but okay. So I tried dating a couple dudes, tried going out with a couple of them. They don't work out, and then I try, you know, to start dating one, and he basically used me, and he used me for sex. At that time I thought we were talking for some time, like a whole month, and we went out with each other, and we went out to eat, and we did a whole bunch of stuff. And after he got what he wanted, he left. And then at that moment I was just like, damn, like, okay. And then we stopped messing with men. I stopped talking to boys. Like, I completely delete all the dating apps out of my phone. I focus on school and school only. I figured, like, if I only met dudes in person, it would go better, you know what I'm saying? So I'm just like, I'm not messing with this no more. Dead and gone, you know what I'm saying? And after that, I chill out. And in the meantime, I'm still thinking of Amari. Like, I'm still thinking of him, and still a little sad. Like, dang, like, this relationship is really over. At this point, I'm just trying to get over the thoughts every day. Like, of course, the missing him had gone, but the thoughts of him every day still randomly appeared throughout my mind. So I was trying to get rid of that. So I started smoking. I picked up smoking to really stop thinking about him, to get him off of my mind. And once I picked up the blunt, I felt like that was my savior. Like, oh, weed is the best, my nigga. Like, it's the best ever. It uplifted me. It made me feel better. You know, weed, it makes you feel better, make you forget about what you was mad about for a second or whatever. And I was like, boom, and I became a hardcore smoker. Ever since that day, I decided to not think about him no more. I was like, okay, smoking blunts back to back to back, always high. I don't care if people know I'm high, I'm gonna smell like weed. I don't care. Like, I was just careless. I didn't care because I was sad, you know. And I was really sad, and started smoking a lot of weed and doing me. And that's when I met Brian. If you guys don't know who he is, he's on my old channel. I'd done a bunch of vlogs with him. We lived together for like a good 3 years. We were in a relationship for 3 years. And when I met him, I thought he was he is different. Not was, because he's still alive or whatever. I just thought that, like, he was the saving. Like, I thought he came to save me. I thought he came to, like, release me from the shackles that is Amari, like the thoughts and me, you know, trying to get rid of them and all the time. And to be honest, he wasn't. Towards the ending of our relationship, I started wanting God back. I started to want him back, because I was just like, I want to go back to church. I want to feel like I don't know. I knew I needed to go back to church. I didn't know what else to do after that. I just know I needed to go back to church. So after I went back to church, I found, my sister told me a church I should go to out there, you know what I'm saying? Can't just be going to any old church, you know what I'm saying? And we started going. We started going together, and I wanted to recommit my life to Christ. At the time, I didn't know how to do that, but I wanted to. And so I was just like, okay, cool. And I think God was like, God saw me and saw that I wanted him, and saw that I wanted to be with him and seek him. So the next events that happened had to happen in order for me to get to where I am right now. So towards the ending of our relationship, we broke up last year in June. So this is in January, okay? So in January, we're going out and going to the church or whatever, and then, like, I'm just trying to be better, trying to get him to be better. I don't even know how to do that yet, and I'm just trying to work on it, right? So we're about 2-3 months into the year in March, and then I get also before that, in the beginning of the new year, my resolution was to never speak of Amari again, because he had ran my thoughts and in my head and all this other crap. So I was just like, if I never bring him up again, if I never speak to him again, it will go away. So, you know, I'm going about my life. We're in March, and then I get a text message from Amari, randomly out the blue. He's like, hey, stranger, let me tell you, my whole world stopped. I hadn't spoken to this man or seen this man in a really long time, you know what I'm saying? And my whole, like, I don't know how to explain it, like that SpongeBob meme where he's like it was, the picture's kind of warped and it's kind of like blurry a little bit. That was me in that very moment. Like, I was like, oh shoot, like my whole world has stopped. It's almost like the whole world went pause. Like, I'm so, like, I can't explain it. Like, it's literally how it felt for me. And then at that moment, I'm still a respectable girlfriend. I'm still like, okay, cool, how you doing? What's up? We ain't talked in a minute. What's good? You know what I'm saying? Oh, you doing this? Oh, you doing that? Ooh, right. Good for you. And I'm like, okay, cool, talk to you next year because, you know, I don't want to keep talking. I got a boyfriend, you know? And then for 3 days straight, he stays on my mind. And I'm like, what? Like, it was heavy, dog. Like, wake up all day, sleep, wake up all day, sleep, wake up all day. I was like, at that moment in my mind, I said F it. Because since we met in 2012, this was almost 8 years ago, guys. When we met in 2012, I hadn't really talking to him really like that since. And this is at the time, this is what, 2019? This was last year, so 2019. And I'm just like, F it. I'm in this relationship with this boy that I think that I love, and my ex from 8 years ago, or however long it's at that time, is hitting me up. And we didn't do anything wrong at that time. I was just like, F it. Like, he was on my mind for 3 days straight, woke up, went to sleep, had dreams. I didn't tell Brian at the time because I knew what that was going to do to him. So I was just like, F it. And I texted her and I was like, I haven't stopped thinking about you since you texted me. You know what I'm saying? You've been on my mind for the last 3 days. And from then on, it went. He told me it was the same for him as well. He hadn't stopped thinking about me. And at that time, that was my end. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was my end. So then we began to talk and we began to reminisce and we began to do us. You know, at this point in the relationship with Brian, I'm not giving a damn. I don't care about how he feels. I'm not caring that I'm cheating. I'm not caring that nothing, really, to be honest. I'm just doing me. Like, me and him are basically emotionally cheating. He had a girlfriend, I had a boyfriend. We're emotionally cheating on with each other. And I'm, you know, talking my little nasty words and my thoughts or whatever, and he doing his back, and I'm just like, and you know, we basically falling in love with each other again, right? And at some point, like, I'm still a little lost because I'm like, we FaceTime again for the first time in 8 years. Let me make sure I'm counting right. 2012 to 2013, 13 to 14, 14 to 15, 15 to 16, 16 to 17, 17 to 18, 18 to 19. Okay, 7 years. So for the first time in 7 years. And when I saw his face, I was like, at the time, I didn't realize it. Cause, you know, I didn't. And I was just looking at his face and I was just like, man, like, damn. I kept saying, damn. And he was like, what? And I was just like, nothing. I didn't know how to explain it at the time. But eventually I realized that I was still in love and none of that love had left. It was almost like nothing had changed. My feelings were exactly still the same. I was still very much in love. I just didn't know how to handle it or what to do about that. So me, I'm saying F it. I'm trying to convince him, like, okay, so we should be together. You know what I'm saying? And he's like, no, we shouldn't because I'm going through a lot. I just broke up with my girl. It's a lot going on. Me, and I'm not giving a damn at the point. I'm like, I don't care. Let's be together. Like, I was very selfish and very rude and disrespectful because at this point, I'm not giving a damn about Brian, the man I'm still in a relationship with. And I'm not caring about his feelings or how it's going to affect him or nothing. I was really selfish. I wasn't even caring about Amari's feelings and how he felt. I was only worried about me and how I felt. And I did the worst thing I've ever done to somebody. Because I've never cheated on anybody. I've never treated anyone like that to their face on purposely to be mean, ever. and I just did me. I didn't care. Like, we talked about what we talked about. I sent pictures. We talked about, you know, just us. We do what people do when they, you know, mostly cheating. And eventually one day I go on a job interview to try to get a second job so I can help with the income that me and Brian are bringing in. And while I'm on the interview, I get a breakup text. He finds the text messages between me and Amar, and he's sending me screenshots, man. He is sending me screenshots of the text messages that he's reading, and I'm just sitting there in the middle of the interview trying to keep a straight face, like I'm not getting broken up with right there now. Like, okay. And then they're like, you're hired. I'm like, cool. And then I run outside and I call him. I'm like, what's up? And he's like, basically cussing me out and telling me all these things. You know, basically it blew up in my face. And as it blows up in my face, I'm like, damn, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's hard. We go our separate ways, and I'm in the house for the first time by myself in like 3 years, and I think I'm okay, and I'm not. You know what I'm saying? I think that I'm okay, but I'm not, because at the same time I'm pissed, because I'm like, okay, I don't have my man, the one I want, the one I was talking to, you know, cheating with, but I also don't have him to help me pay my bills. You know what I'm saying? Because he's helping me pay my bills. And I was just like really selfish and rude and disrespectful, and that's the only reason why I kept the relationship going for as long as it did towards the end. From January to June, I kept it going because I needed someone to help me pay my bills. I couldn't do it. LA was hard. It was hard to do that. Eventually, my best friend came out to live with me, to help me. And it's going good, you know what I'm saying? We doing us, and she's trying to get a job to make some money so we can live together and flourish, or whatever, right? And then COVID hits. This is 2020 now. COVID hits, and I'm like, damn. Like, this is a pandemic. Like, what are we gonna do? Like, my job was only giving me 1 day a week at this point, both of them. And then I had to quit one, because I'm like, dog, I went from 5 days a week to 1. So I was trying to look for another one, and then at this point I'm lost for a job. Like, I don't have any income. I can't pay the rent that's coming up in about 2 weeks. So this is March, and I'm like, okay, I'm humbled. Like, God had to humble me. He had to take away some things away from me in order for me to come back to him. And I lost my job, so I had to come back home. Like, the plan was to move to Vegas with my best friend and to live with her and to flourish out there, because everything is cheaper. You know what I'm saying? I could afford to live. Like, what I was making in LA, I could afford to live on in Vegas. So I was like, why not just do that? So I'll go home for a couple of weeks or a month and stack some money and move out to Vegas. And when I came back home, I was humbled. I no longer had the privacy that I thought I had. I didn't have the silence I had. You know, my niece, she's loud. She's, what, 6? So I'm just like annoyed, you know what I'm saying? The car that I just bought, my very first car, broke down as soon as I got to the city. So it no longer worked. I never got that car working again. I had to sell it. So I was just stranded. I was just stuck here. I was pissed. I was mad. I was upset, because I was just like, I didn't know what to do at that point. I was just lost, and I didn't know how to proceed on. So I was just like mad and upset. And my sister, this whole entire time, she's been saved too. We all fall off our walk and come back to God. And so when I come back, you know, for the first, I think, 2 or 3 months here, I'm just a little depressed. Like, I don't have a, like, this is my room now. I have a bed and things now, but I didn't always have a bed. When I came back home, this was somebody else's room, and no bed was in here. Nothing was in here. I had to make this my room again, because when I lived here as a child, yes, it was my room. And when I moved out, of course, my things were gone. So I slept on the floor, or slept on the couch the first couple nights. And then eventually I got an air mattress, and I kept having to buy an air mattress, and eventually, you know, got to graduate to a bed. But other than that, in the first couple months, I was just like really depressed and really kind of sad, because I was like, I didn't know what to do. Like, okay, my relationship is ended, and I still have these feelings for this boy, and I don't know about that. Like, that is like that, the thoughts of that man really was heavily into my head, you know what I'm saying? Really just on it, you know, just on me. And in the beginning of 2020, that was the worst thing. I was like, so my relationship over, I ain't got no money, no job, no car, and the nigga I want don't want me. I was like, what the heck? Like, it was 2020, the beginning of 2020 was horrible for me. I was like, what is this bullshit? Like, I'm just saying, I'm not okay with none of this, you know what I'm saying? And my sister came to me and she told me, she was like, okay, well, you need to get back with God. And that's period. You need to go back to God. Go back, because he number one, you need him. And that's just the way you should live your life, like, period. And, you know, at first, you know, I got a little hesitant, I was a little anxious, like, you know what I'm saying? As when you follow Christ and you're in your sin, you're not so eager to leave. I mean, not when you follow Christ. When you're away from Christ and you are in your sin, you're not so eager to leave your sin. You just be like, well, I like cussing, nigga. I like watching what I like watch. I like listen to what I like listen to. I like having sex. I like doing me. You know what I'm saying? So you're not eager to leave. So, you know, it took me a while to come back to him and to come back to him the right way. And when I finally eventually did, I began to see my life change. Like, nigga, like, I can't explain to you how my life has changed. If you hear noises, that's my hamster, my niece's pet hamster. I'm sorry, she's clearly just doing what she want to do. Be quiet, Hammy. Anyway, my life began to change. So I began to actually live my life for him, forsake my old self, turn away from my sins, cussing, the thoughts, what I watched, all the sexual things, all of that. So I began to, once I began to do that, he gave me a job. And the difference between this job and every other job that I've had, I didn't have to worry about losing it. In LA, when I lived in LA, I was constantly in stress about losing my job, because you're so disposable out there. It's not like I didn't do my job or I was worried being fired because I was horrible at it or I would mess up. It was simply because, I don't know, it was almost like something was messing with me, because I could not keep a job. Like, I would get a job, boom, be ready to work, start working, get 5 days a week, 6 or whatever, and then it trickled down to 3, then 2, then 1. And I'm like, they expect me to work. So I wasn't fired when I was in LA, I just kept quitting because I couldn't keep a stable job. Like, they would always give me, eventually I'll start off with great days and I'll end up with 1 day. Like, how am I working 1 day a week? How am I paying for my bills? So when I got this job out here, I was a little hesitant. I was a little scared at first, because I was like, whenever I get a job, I have to worry about keeping it, because I need to be able to pay my bills, you know what I'm saying? And he let me know that I didn't have to worry about that, because the job was given from God. And what God gives you, can no man take away. So that was security number one. And then, okay, so once I saw that, I was like, okay, keep being faithful, keep reading your Bible, keep going to church, keep forsaking the old you, keep doing the opposite of what the devil wants you to do. And I kept doing it. And he blessed me with a car, my very first car. But before that, he blessed me with being able to get my license. You know what I'm saying? And then shortly after that, he blessed me with my first car. And how I know he blessed me with it is because he put a stamp on it. There's a sticker on my car that said, all things are possible through God. Or through God, all things possible. Whatever how it goes. And that's his stamp. That's him telling me, I gave you this car. Here you go. Thank you for being faithful. I was like, okay, like, God, you do it, like, you really are being great to me right now. Like, you gave me a car, you gave me my license, you got me a job I ain't gotta worry about. Like, what? Like, he is really blessing me just for being faithful, just for following him, just for seeking him, just for being forsaking the old me, like, just for wanting to be better with him. He has given me all of those things. And I'm just amazed, like, wow, like, all the things that happened in my life, all the things I've been able to do. Like, this year I've had more money than I've ever had when I was in LA. Period. I've had more money in 2020 than I've ever had in LA in the middle of a pandemic. That was only God. That was only him, because I was struggling and it was just so hard in LA. I almost gave up multiple times, but I didn't want to come back home. But he knew in order for me to be humbled and give me what he wanted me to have, I would have to come back home, which is why I'm here in my room. God, like, he right here, like, he behind this door, like, he somewhere in the house. Like, when he tell me do something, I jump and get to doing it, because I don't want to make my Lord and Savior not like mad, but I want to listen. I want to continue to be blessed, so I'm going to listen to him. So he noticed that. He knew I was the person who just, as soon as he told me I was messing up or doing something wrong and fix it, I did it. Boom. Oh, I'm doing that. Oh, let me fix it, Lord. And he would bless me for doing that. And I would say one of another big blessing to me was Amari. Like, which I need y'all to understand is that this boy has played a really big role in my life. And for so long, I was sad and depressed and not knowing how to handle being with him, how to not being with him, how to handle being without him, and how to, like, why was he always on my mind, and why is he always there, and what's the point, you know what I'm saying? And when you get close to God and when you have a relationship with God, he will give you answers and reveal things to you that he would not have given you when you were out in the world doing you. I now have answers as to why this boy stayed on my mind so long. Why I never forgot him. Why my love for him never left. I understand that now. God has told me that. And it's simply because if he does right. Now, he's not perfect, but if he does right by the Lord and goes back to him, he's my husband. I'm his wife. And I didn't know that, and that excites the hell out of me, because I'm like, I've only loved this boy, so great, I don't have to go learn somebody else and stuff like that. So the fact that he allowed me to know that and allowed me to have peace with that, because I've never had peace with the thoughts of Amari and with the struggle of, are we together, are we not together, and can we be together, and all this other crap. God allowed me to have peace through that. He allowed me to, he is directing my thoughts, my path, and everything that I do. Because when it comes to relationships, they're relationships, you know, you're gonna argue, you're gonna be irritated, somebody's gonna say something, you're gonna break up, you know, stuff you have to worry about. But with God, I ain't got to worry about none of that. If he's in the middle of our relationship, I don't have to worry about the regular mundane things you do about a relationship. You see what I'm saying? So, like, God really transformed my life while I'm here. Like, just changed my entire life, and I can't wait to see what 2021 looks like, because I know he's going to make miracles. He's going to, like, I don't even know, like, I'm excited to see what he's gonna do, because I'm gonna continue to be faithful. Like, I'm excited. He allowed me to have a job I didn't have to worry about again. Allowed me to have money I have not been without this entire year. He allowed me to have a car. Yes, God. He gave me my man back. Like, I'm just so happy. Like, I'm so content. I'm chilling. I'm good. Like, I love the Lord. Like, y'all don't understand. Like, I love me some Jesus. I love me some God. I love me some Holy Spirit. Like, I love all of that. And, like, on top of that, he's allowing me to be released from the shackles of weed. Like, I smoked weed for about a good 8 years straight, on and off, you know what I'm saying? I never really took a break to be sober. I am sober. I'm really 4 days sober, I think. What's today? Wednesday. I ran out of weed on Saturday. So it's Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I'm on my 4th day of no weed. And it's a struggle, you know what I'm saying, physically, my body. But however, my mind is being renewed, and I'm appreciative of that. And I love him. I love my Lord and Savior, and I'm thankful to God for all the blessings he has given to me. And I'm here to tell you, he can bless you in your life or whatever bullshit you are in, just like me, and give you a whole new life and give you a whole new outlook on things. And he will do that if you allow him to. Just come to him. Just do that. And I just want to let you guys know that was my story. That is how God won my heart. That's how he got back to me. That's not got back to me, how I got back to him. Because God never forsakes us. We don't want to go out and do what we want to do all the time. And I just want to let y'all know that was my story. That's my testimony. That's how God got me. And I don't care what you're in, he will get you out of it too. And you want to know how, or to figure out how, or how to do it, DM me. My social medias are in the description below. They're going to be at the end of this video. I want to thank you guys for watching. I hope you watched the entire thing. I hope you had a good time. I hope you have a little bit more questions now. I hope you are thinking in your mind about God and about the life you live and everything now. I just pray that is on your mind now, so you have more questions later. And I want to thank you guys for watching. Make sure you hit that like button, that subscribe button if you are new and you want your life to be renewed and transformed. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button for your girl that's one time. And like you say on my other channel, as always, I will see you, or you will see me, next time.